Tell me what's your take on what's happening?
Well, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. You know, I met a gentleman on the weekend at the Great Leap garage sale who thought the entire beach was going to be the play structure. Then I met someone who told me, well, 80 trees were cut down. There's a lot of really false information that's out there. This is a park that's 72 acres, and we're going to use 1 acre of 72 acres for playground equipment. So I'm not trying to diminish the fact that people have strong opinions, but when someone comes up to me and says, I don't like it because people are going to be parking on my street and kids from other neighborhoods are going to come to Mooney's Bay, I don't really accept that as a reason to object to it.
Let's take a look at the facts, though. The community was not consulted. Why not?
Well, the councillor for the area certainly had every right to hold a public consultation meeting.
But he didn't.
No, but the reality is that there are a lot of playground structures that go in and we don't have a consultation on teeter-totters and swings.
Well, this is a lot more than that, Your Worship. You have to admit, I mean, it's Canada's largest playground, $1 million in funds, on an area where, there's dragon boat. A lot of people count on that space.
Yeah, but we've, in fairness, we've met, and I just at another meeting on Friday with the Dragon Boat Festival, Hope Beach Volleyball. Once they've seen what the plans are, they say, oh, I didn't realize it was that, and we're working with them to accommodate their festivals because they're important festivals for the city. But Mooney's Bay Park is not a neighborhood park. It's a regional park, and that area, which is today, for instance, they're tearing down the old bridges, which have been condemned. The play equipment or the fitness equipment from Sue Holloway Park is dangerous, and it's so old we no longer can get replacement equipment for it.
But it could
be going to be replaced.
But new equipment would have cost a lot less than $1 million.
No, they're two different things. So the Sue Holloway fitness equipment is going to be replaced as part of regular life cycle maintenance. This larger playground with swing sets and teeter-totters and monkey bars and so on, would never have been able to happen unless we had the private sector investment. So I think, like a lot of things in Ottawa, Caroline, people are quick to react negatively. I don't like it. I don't understand it. When this thing gets built, I think we'll all be scratching our head and wondering, what was the big fuss about? This is a great place to attract young people and children to come and play and just be kids.
But why not include the community and sell them on it? Because then you wouldn't have been facing this backlash.
Well, in fact, there is a public meeting tomorrow.
But, Your Worship, come on. It's after the project's been rubber stamped. What good is that going to do?
Well, it's more to provide information because I think there's so much misinformation that's being spread about the project. When I have people thinking the park is going to be taken up by sort of a Euro Disney kind of a theme, I realize that the city obviously has not done a very good job of explaining what it is, number one. But secondly, when it is explained, we have there was an interesting, I think today one of our staff said a woman brought her grandchild who was very, to protest the construction, but in fact the grandchild said, I want to see this play structure here because at Mooney's Bay, there's precious little for kids to do. It's a great place to go have a drink on the licensed patio or to go and play volleyball or to swim. But if you're a kid, there's one little
playground
that was built when I was mayor back in the 90s.
And there's the beach.
A long time ago.
I know, and there's the beach. But there are some questions right now about the possible toxic nature of the ground out there, and talk that the playground is going to have to be covered with a plastic sheet to keep those toxins in, and it can't be penetrated. Tell me what you know about this.
Well, we're putting a membrane on it now, and
Why?
we're putting a drainage system in place because, as you know, if you've been to that area, anytime there's a rainfall, the water just gathers there and there's no proper drainage. So we're actually going to be able to improve the area dramatically as a result of this investment so that you don't have this kind of a pooling of water, which is a magnet for mosquitoes and so on.
So there's no contamination there?
Well, at one point it was a garbage dump, but there's been play structures there for the last 50 years that the city has been running that park. So we're actually making it safer through the membrane. Right now there's no membrane.
So this membrane
makes a lot better sense to have the membrane there. And technology and standards today are much higher for playground equipment than they were back even 20 years ago. So we're bringing the most up-to-date, safest play structures available, plus the highest standard of environmental remediation.
Okay. Now,
the garbage dump was more of the hill, as you know.
Okay.
Farther away.
You've heard the opponents to the project saying that they're considering or looking at a court challenge. What do you say about that?
Well, listen, in a free society, they're welcome to do that. We've gone through this with Lansdowne. People often take the city to court, but it becomes very expensive because now the groups, if they lose, they have to pay. So I'm not sure what the legal basis is for replacing rundown playground equipment with modern playground equipment. I think a judge would not look too seriously at that, to be perfectly honest. Again, I think we have to look at this in perspective. This is 1 acre of 72 acres. It's a public park. It's not the domain of the canoe club or residents that want to use it for their own purposes. It's for everyone. And to have kids from other neighborhoods come in and use a playground, I think is a great thing.
Well, Mayor Watson, do you think a playground and a reality show is worth the bad feelings that have been generated over this?
Well, look at, there's 900,000 people that live in the city. I've got about 25 emails. So I think the media certainly are having a great field day with this. And I think when 9 people show up for a farewell picnic, I put it in perspective. That's 9 people. And I'm not diminishing the fact that people have the right to protest, but I'm getting people now, I think the tide has turned. I'm having people stop me and say, why are people complaining about adding a playground to a park? And I think, my experience, Carol Ann, in politics is that there's a history of people, saying no to something. The new housing development, I'm against that. Lansdowne Park, I'm against that. But when the thing gets built, I think we'll go back there and we'll see kids laughing and screaming and having a good time, and they'll be mixing in with paddlers from the Rideau Canoe Club and residents who want to walk along the pass system. None of that is being taken away, but I think we're going to improve the facility. And I think, the reality show sounds somewhat dismissive. My view is this is a show where kids from across the country, including Ottawa kids, are going to help to design the play structures and build them. I think that's sort of fun.
Okay. Mayor Jim Watson, I'm so glad you came on. I hope we're still friends.
Historic to be on your first show.
Are we still friends?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson, ladies and gentlemen. Jim, I appreciate you taking the time, and good luck with all the plans for 2017. I know a lot of us are looking forward to our 150th birthday. If we have more
time in the future, I'd love to come back and talk about some of them because they're very exciting, and I think residents will be very, very proud of what we're able to put together.
Okay, go back to your tourism summit.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson, his take on what's happening at Mooney's Bay. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Karen Howard is going to join us, one of the vocal opponents to what we were talking about with the mayor. Stay with us.
Bringing common sense to Ottawa's